Hi and welcome. There is an energy that wants to be channeled, and I just had this weird sense of deja vu before I started recording. Collisions of belief styles, attitudes, and energies, the number 35. Ooh, please ground. Whether you're doing grounding by a meditation or using crystals, tiger's eye, smoky quartz, or red crystals. If you can, be outside in the sun, put your feet on the ground, hug a tree, dance, jump around, sing. Please ground. When things become unbearable or challenging or painful for too long in our external environment, or even like if you're sick and you have a lot of pain and discomfort in your body, and that can be if you've been sad or dealing with things as well, we tend to pull our energy up into our higher chakras, which is fine because we get downloads and a higher connection, and our consciousness expands. But it can also, you want to be able to be grounded and tap into your higher chakras as well. Number 40, Angel of Time working too hard. When I see this card, I think about rigidity. So someone could be physically working too hard, and I feel like a lot of time it feels like we don't have a choice. Like if we stop, the whole system's gonna shut down. Things at work, things with your children, things with your money, the way your house runs, your family, extended, your friends. It feels like if you stop, there's going to be something that stops, and there's going to be a catastrophe. Now, this is a tricky energy that I've navigated a number of times, and sometimes I get it right and sometimes I can't, even though I know what I'm meant to be doing. She looks angry. She's not happy that she has to work so hard. And then even if you keep going and you keep working, being in this energy makes things go wrong anyway. And you might be able to keep the external things going, like, okay, you get all the chores done, you do all the favors, everybody's asking you, you please your boss, you make your partner happy, your children want to go and do this, so you go and do that for them, and they are all happy, but then you're not happy. And over time, if you negate your own feelings long enough, something inside you is going to go drastically wrong, emotionally, mentally, or physically. And yes, because our lives are set up often in such a karmic way that either you're the one carrying the whole family financially, or you're the one that everyone always dumps on emotionally, or you're just alone and there's no one else that has the capacity to hold space for you. Sometimes it's just because you really don't have the right kind of people around you, and sometimes it's because the people that are around you have the same thing going on, and everybody is going through a hard time. And this energy can be challenging to navigate, because if we're all tired and stressed and overworked, then we're going to start arguing and start pointing fingers and start blaming and shaming. And in a moment you have to really tap in and see, okay, my life battery, my physical, emotional capacity is at a 60%, and what is required of me is going to require even more than 100%. What's the most important thing right now? Can I cry and then still get that project done before the deadline and feel good about it? Or can I really just fail this one test and be okay with it, and go at the next one with more ease and more preparation and more calmness and ace it. Do I really want to just say, everyone go jump off a cliff? I'm not doing anything. If that's not something you usually do, just saying no sometimes can feel so good, and not in a vindictive, hurtful way, but in a self-loving, preservatory, if that's a word, way. And sometimes showing up fully, wholly, completely, going the extra mile for just one deserving person makes you feel really good, and it's a beautiful energy exchange. And you might lose some time that you could have been doing something else, but it's worth it. Or you give away something that really helps somebody, and you are now without that thing, but it's still worth it. And yeah, we just really need to tap into that energy and not always do the same thing in the same way. If you keep showing up, if you know your boss never ever sees how much effort you put in, and you don't get paid enough, and your colleagues are getting on your nerves, and your health is suffering, and there's too many negative reasons, then maybe today is the day that you call in sick. You kind of have to gauge it. I do want to read. I think this is going to be a short message. I'm probably not going to pull any more cards because this is the energy that I was getting, and I don't feel like I need any more cards, but I do want to read this. It says, the angel of time looks very fierce and stern, and that's because you need to hear her message. You see, if she appeared to you in a soft guise, it would be easy for you to overlook her message and just continue as if she had never visited. And this is reminding me of some people are gentle and soft, and they aren't easily hurt. And that somebody, or that could be you or someone else, could be like, hey, I really need your help with this, and you ignore it. Or someone says, this is really hurting me, I'd appreciate it if you stop doing that. And you or this person keeps communicating in a gentle and kind and loving way, and the behavior just continues, and the situation just continues. Sometimes you need to say, back the F off, or raise your voice, or get super assertive, and dead the situation. And I promise you, someone worth having around, if you finally get to that point and you blow up at them and they finally hear you, in that moment it might be really hectic, really uncomfortable or painful, but someone worth having around will then finally hear you and make the changes. And maybe even if you have to take a step back, both of you, you'd be able to come back together and say, hey, I see that, I'm sorry. Oh wow, I'm seeing a black and yellow butterfly, a huge one in the garden. There's a significance to that there. Someone that really, really cares about you and is worth having around, or that you can resolve things and improve your relationship with, will hear you and make the changes or work through it with you in a loving way. Sometimes people can't hear you, and you have to just either give up on them, or you have to make yourself heard. You have to know when to push through and persevere something and just let it be, or when to say enough is enough. And I feel like someone is at an enough is enough point. And sometimes we just have to let everything just fall apart. Like if all of these things, these cogs fell apart, maybe you can put it back together in a way that will be more efficient, that won't require you to work so much harder. there's, where I am, it's so peaceful and chill, but there's this energy of stress and warning and, red energy, and I'm getting notifications, Twitter notifications, and all sorts of social media notifications about all sorts of emergencies and revelations and issues and things. If you need to disconnect from social media, please do that. If you need to disconnect from people or certain people, please do that. If you need to switch yourself off, please meditate. Let's see what else it says. The truth is that you are forcing yourself beyond your energetic limits at this time, working too hard, self-loving, and connecting with the universe way too little. So she has appeared to remind you of what it is you are turning your world into one big machine where you are one cog in it. Again, I'm getting rigidity. Like if we do the same things the same way all the time, push ourselves too hard, like you're driving your car too hard, you're braking too hard, you're shifting gears too hard if you still have gear shifts. Like if you're riding something too hard, overusing it, whether that's yourself, your energy, or external things, overuse is going to cause a problem. It's time for a break from mechanical, technical work. Please take breaks from electronic devices like computers, cell phones, iPads, clocks, watches. It is simply time to rest in nature's embrace. Swim in the ocean, float in a lake, walk in a forest, meditate in a cave, camping, hiking, gardening would be most benefit at this time. It's time to unwind the tightly coiled springs and detach from the mechanics of the deadlines and immerse yourself in nature's time and truth. The angel of time tells you to do this now. And if that isn't clear, then I don't know what is. Reach at the end of the world, an important end, a new beginning, number 45. Now we have 40 and 45 here. What's the significance of those numbers? 4 is a number of stability. Like sometimes we want to hold things together by making sure we cross off all the things on the list. We rush, we want to get it all done because we want to keep the illusion of our security together. Like if my house is running well and all the bills are paid, then I feel secure. But ultimately, nothing in this world, and especially at this time in the world, is secure. Even if you've been at your job for 25 years and you know what you're doing, you never know what can happen. And it's not to instill fear. Please, fear and anxiety is not an energy we want to perpetuate. It's about finding that inner stability and center and knowing that sometimes things fall apart, sometimes things end. And if I try to hold on to it when it's falling apart and ending, I'm going to exhaust myself. You have to tap into your intuition and discernment. You have to find that powerful spiritual energy within you and within God, within the universe, within nature, to know that, nature doesn't stress when there's a hurricane. Yes, there can be destruction, but nature knows how to regrow and new things are then built. And these things are very symbolic because they can play out in our lives in so many different ways. Like if you have a serious illness that you are dealing with, yes, seek out the medical help that you need, but use discernment, because sometimes medical help is not needed and all you need to do is allow your body to rest. Give it to nature, feed it healthy and water. But sometimes medical help is needed. Sometimes you need a balance of the two. But you also, even if you do seek medical help, you also need to have the faith and the knowing that your body can heal itself. And that can be hard. To know that something, or to believe that something is going to turn out well when you don't have any evidence that it's going to turn out well. And sometimes when all of these things are happening, that's exactly what it's trying to teach us, to strengthen our faith. And not faith that things will never go wrong or be bad. The faith that if it happens, it can be fixed. If it can't be fixed, something new will take place. If that doesn't happen, it's not time yet. There's these things, explaining these concepts can sometimes be so insane, sound insane, because we are so used to operating in such a logical way. But globally, we are having endings to so many things. It's like the end of an era, the end of a time, but it's also happening in our jobs, in our families, in our personal lives, with so many different things. I'm hearing the song, what's this guy's name? It's The Sign of the Times, Harry Styles. Listen to the song. Stop your crying, it'll be alright. It's just a sign of the times. It's hard to accept these things. Sometimes, listening to sad things or reading sad poetry or watching a sad movie, it makes you feel better, if you get what I'm saying. And sometimes sad things and hard things make you feel inspired. And then sometimes you just need to stay away from negative things so that you can feel, you want then empowering things and happy things and fun things. And this life is about experiences and nuances and contrast. And sometimes you need to roll with the punches and accept the good with the bad. And now I'm rambling. Is there anything more, Spirit? Okay. I do self-care, self-love, wellness readings once a week. But I feel like we are all needing more and more radical self-care. So already we have the advice about going out in nature and grounding. There's going to be some sort of justice. I feel like there's all sorts of justice needing to happen at this time. Societal justice, justice with that one friend that did you wrong, or people that owe you money, or the guy that broke your heart, or whatever it is. There's all sorts of justice that's happening. And yeah, there's so many aspects to why we do the things we do, why it happens to us, and justice can look very different. There's an eye here that I'm noticing, and I feel like we are needing to see with the eyes of our hearts, if that makes sense, and not just what we see on the surface. Justice is about truth and balancing things out, equality. Lady Justice, what do you have to tell us? Let's see what the book says. What we do in the present moment informs our future self, and to be present now, we have to accept the past. And there goes my crystal. Receiving this card might mean you're in a situation that you believe is unfair, or you've done something you need to learn from. Justice says be patient and self-compassionate, but take responsibility. Denying or controlling won't get you the progress or the end result you seek. Release your doubts and fears. The sword of sacred truth has your back. Trust the outcome. The self-care message is, first, the Justice card is number 11, which I feel like is alignment, and then it's in the sign of Libra. And the theme is sacred truth, fairness, equilibrium, and equity. And I feel like we are having so many discussions, debates, processing so many things about what is just and who is wrong, and the degrees of wrongness and rightness, and what do we do with it. The affirmation here says, I am a sacred point between understanding and action. I am a sacred point between understanding and action. That makes me feel like there's a point that needs to be reached between what you understand. Lastly, in yoga, asanas require trust in order to achieve balance. Even standing in tree pose without squirming means finding our center of gravity and natural flow of energy. The achievement of literal and figurative harmony is a lifelong project. But start here. Attend a yoga class or watch a free yoga video and see what resistance comes up when trying to do some of the poses. Stick with it and see what you learn. An important thing that I learned from yoga is that sometimes in our bodies, some of us, the way we are structured, we have a lot of stability. You have a thick set of bones and not a lot of flexibility and range of motion. And that's a reflection of you, either your thoughts or how you act and behave and the things that you do in life, that you're very rigid. If you don't have flexibility, and the areas in your body that isn't flexible. And some people are very flexible and they don't have a lot of stability. So if you are very flexible and you don't have a lot of stability, you need to spend more time doing things slowly and precisely, with intention, staying in positions for longer periods of time. And you'll see this if you do yoga poses. It's hard to maintain a pose, especially if you're flexible and you don't have a lot of joint stability or core stability. But if you have a lot of core stability and joint stability, or you're bigger and heavier, it's easier to hold a pose, maybe not in perfect alignment, but it's not so easy to move and flow with ease and grace. So maybe reflect on your posture and also how you move in life and how you think. Is your thinking flexible or very rigid? Or are you so open-minded that you get swayed by everything and you don't have your own unique thoughts and a center to anchor you? There's a lot of things we can learn from nature, from the universe, from the stars, from yoga. But I hope this has been helpful for someone. If it has, please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and join me again in another video.